Every day we're bombarded by countless choices, and those choices can have a big impact on our careers, our family, and overall happiness in 10 minutes, 10 months, and even 10 years. It's exactly that idea that's behind best-selling author Suzy Welch's new book. It's called 10-10-10, A Life-Transforming Idea. And I guess it can be. Suzy, good morning. Nice to see you. Before we get to the theory of 10-10-10, how did it come to you?
Well, it came to me about 14 years ago. I was a working mother. I went to Hawaii to give a speech to a group of insurance executives. But because I was a working mother, I thought I could sort of crack the work-life balance code, and I brought two of my children. I have 4 children. I brought 2 of my children with me, and it was a disaster to begin with, but it came to a head when, while I was giving my big speech to the clients, my children, who I had warehoused in a hula dancing class, burst into the back of the conference hall and ran towards the stage in their hula skirts. And
disrupted the whole thing.
Yes, they did. And it was this shocking moment where I had that moment. Mothers have said to me, every mother has one of these moments where I said, I have to find a system, an operating principle for moving forward.
All right, so the operating principle is this. What's this decision I'm about to make going to mean to my life in 10 minutes? What's it going to mean to me in 10 months? And what's it going to mean to me in 10 years? Do you suggest people use this principle with decisions big and little, like career and versus what I'm going to have for breakfast this morning?
You know, the amazing thing about it is how versatile it is. I mean, I've seen people use it to decide whether to keep a job or to let go of a job, whether to stay in a marriage or let go of marriage, or even small decisions like, do I attend a school recital or stay late at work? But I want to just add one thing, Matt, which is that 10-10-10, thinking about those consequences in each of those time frames is not as powerful if you don't bring your values to it. How do I want to live? I mean, it's not a device. It is a way to shape your life, and that happens when you bring your values to it.
Let's make it practical, okay? There's someone out there watching right now, Suzy. That person is deciding whether to take a new job.
Right.
So put it into real terms for me. In 10 minutes, what's that decision going to mean?
Well, you think about, how do I want to live? What matters to me? Is it financial security? Is it adventure? Is it learning? Is it growth? You have to first do sort of a values excavation. Then you say, okay, in 10 minutes, what are the upside and downside of taking this job and not taking it? In 10 months, and then in 10 years. Not, technically it doesn't have to be 10-10-10. It could be near, middle, and distant.
Yeah, but what happens if those things don't agree? For example, what if it's great for me in 10 minutes and could be great for me in 10 years, but in 10 months it's going to completely turn my life upside down?
Right, exactly. And that's what you surface. You bubble all those things up, and then you ask the question, how do I want to live? How do I create a life of my own making? What matters to me? Given those answers, then what is the best decision for me?
It seems to me one of the things you conclude in the book is that people don't take enough time to look past immediate consequences. Given that, does the long-term answer always trump the others?
No.
No?
No, it doesn't, because we can't always live in the long term. What a bore that would be. I mean, you have to have spontaneity in your life. But what you can do is build a life that is sort of lived proactively. We can't do anything about the past, but we can create a life we want if we think about what does matter to me in what time frame. But you can't always live out in the distant future. That's way too simple a mindset.
I know you're telling people to choose their battles here and to use this theory where it applies, because the critics might say there are times we just have to go with our gut and we don't have time to analyze every decision. Would you agree with that?
There are times you have to go with your gut. It's all you've got, and gut has got its uses. It's a great pattern recognizer, but gut is very inconsistent and it's not transparent, and sometimes actually it's much more efficient to do 10-10-10. You can actually very quickly say what are the ups and downs. Gut sort of, you go left, you go right.
You bring in family members and friends then, and that's deliberation that perhaps you can get around with 10-10-10.
And sometimes gut is just guilt, and guilt is no way to make decisions.
There is, as you head out on this book tour, there's going to be an obvious question you're going to be asked a lot of times. You several years ago, began a relationship with a man you're now married to, the former CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, and at the time you two began your relationship, both of you were married to other people.
Actually, I was not married.
Were you separated?
I was divorced.
You were already divorced?
I was divorced.
He was married to someone else.
Yes, he was, yeah.
So did you use 10-10-10 at that moment?
I wish I had. I mean, I learned an important lesson about 10-10-10, which is, at the time, events overwhelmed me, and I failed 10-10-10. It didn't fail me.
How do you fail it?
I didn't use it. I was overwhelmed by, overnight, becoming a public person, and I thought people would receive Jack's and my story as a love story, which it was, and instead there was a lot of media. And looking back, I did use a form of 10-10-10 with Jack by my side, trying to figure out what to do, which was to move forward and to blow up our lives to be together. But 10-10-10, I've learned from that experience, can be brought in even at the moments of extreme high drama in your life.
And so now you would be at the you'd be in between the 10-month and the 10-year.
Well, we're at 8 years. So.
Right. And if you were to look back and analyze, do you think this is the way you thought it would be?
Yes, I could have gotten here faster and with less angst and anxiety if I had used 10-10-10.
Well, it's an interesting theory, and I'm going to start to use this with my kids.
Yes, it's great.
I'm going to teach
your
kids the
children.
10-10-10 theory.
Yeah,
Suzy
very good
Welch,
parenting.
good luck. It's nice to have you
Thank
here.
you very much, Matt.
And to learn more about applying the 10-10-10 approach to your life, you can email us at todayshow.com, because Suzy's going to be back a little later in the show. She will answer some of those email questions.